Recording in progress.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the October edition of the Tips and Tricks SIG. I sent out a list of topics for us to go over tonight, and after our open forum period, we can delve into those. So, before we get going, I'd like to know, has anyone got anything that they're really watching on Prime Day today? Anyone buy anything yet?
I just did.
You just did. Now, you're a good man. What'd you buy there, Wayne?
A 5 terabyte Western Digital USB hard drive.
Oh, because you brought up the topic. Okay. And how much did you get it for?
$119.
$119. That sounds like a deal.
And I'm delivered between 8 tomorrow morning and 11 a.m. or whatever.
Oh, okay. So you'll get it tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, by the next meeting, you'll have to let us know how well it works. If you throw it up against the wall and see if it makes any sounds, check its vulnerability, maybe throw a couple of viruses on there just for the fun.
Yeah.
Merge it in 8 feet of salt water?
Yeah, there you go. See how well it works with salt water. I like that idea. Maybe do a little immersion test. All right, so we got hard drives, Prime Day deals. What else? Anyone else jump in on buying anything or watching anything on Prime?
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
I've been a little too busy today. I've barely been able to get on there. Every chance I get, I have to log off after a couple of minutes because I just don't have time. So no purchases here, other than needing a new lamp for my projection screen TV that went out two nights ago. I got to go buy a new replacement for that one. And Amazon's got the cheapest price right now. Other than that, don't know. Nothing in particular.
I placed some orders today for a project I have coming up, and it was the automatic. Oh yeah, it just happened to be what I ordered happened to be a Prime Day special, but it wasn't something I was looking for.
Right there. Okay, it's a good chance to take advantage of that. Even if you get a couple of percentage off, it doesn't hurt.
Well, besides
The other day I bought a couple of programmable light light switches. Turn the lights on and off.
Yeah.
And it's programmable, so I can set it up for dawn from dusk to dawn or whatever.
well,
Are you talking internal or inside the house or outside the house use?
Outside the house.
Outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got my X10 and VN Link inside the house.
You're still rocking that.
Oh yeah.
Well, besides Amazon,
Not all the X10s. I've gotten some of this VN Link, that plugs. You can program it and access it on your, with your wire, phone. It works off the Wi-Fi system.
Well, besides Amazon, I see deals going on with Walmart, Best Buy, even Menards. I haven't seen as yet anything like Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that, but everybody's getting in on the act.
Menards?
It's a case of a feeding frenzy in it, like fish in the water in it. They all of a sudden start just all going for the food and can't stop.
Okay. So you're saying Menards has got a special
Yeah.
going on too? Shop
I've
these
been
exclusive
getting,
deals online only. Yeah, I'm looking at them.
yeah.
Yeah, they do have deals.
But you got to watch it because at least the way I found out, some of my browsers I have settings on won't work. I happen to just stumble because I have multiple browsers. I happen to find one browser that would actually work. But I did want something before I found that out. Went into Menards and I had to have them do the order. But the way the person told me after giving me the sheet of paper was that they'll just contact you when it's ready to pick up. Only I didn't read the paper since I already had to tell them everything to order. And the funny part about it was that night I happened to just pick up the paper and look at it. In the upper right, left-hand corner, it says you have to pay for the order to be actually activated.
Yeah.
So then I had to go in the next day just to try and get it activated. Well, the prices were only good for that day, but they did honor it the next day. But they had to re-enter the whole order. Then I paid for it. It got done.
Okay. Well, they got a nice trail cam on sale at Menards. Sorry, I'm not. I saw that. Yeah, Walmart's got deals going on. You said Menards. Probably many of the retailers out there. I'll bet you
Oh, yeah.
Costco's probably got something going on online too.
Yes, they do. Costco's got something I just saw today in it, but watch out. There's fishing going on as well with Costco.
Fishing
Yep,
with Costco.
yep. I got
Number
one.
sinking sticks.
I got one of them this morning, and I didn't take the bait.
Oh, you're saying like an unsolicited email that
Yeah,
came in to tell you?
and
Okay,
it ain't from them.
right.
That's how I know it's fishing.
Yeah, always go as a word of warning. Always go to the original host site that you need to work with or want to shop at. Don't follow a link. Anything else anyone take note to online? Nope. Okay. Well, I can't answer the question. I've already asked the question about did anyone buy anything new lately, so we know about the one hard drive Wayne's buying. He's the only one keeping the economy going.
Well, it wasn't too long ago I bought my 8 terabyte hard drives. I bought 3 of them. I think mine may be mine are the Seagate expansion. They're not the WD Black. WD
Okay.
Black it costs a bit more, but it's also a slightly more reliable brand. I yeah, they've already been through one backup cycle, so they're working, and I can even hook up my Chromebook to them.
Do you leave
When
those running 24/7 or you just plug them in as you need them?
they're backup drives, I only plug them in when I need them.
I
If
see.
if they were file history, they'd be running all the time. And I don't have a server.
Okay.
I mean, I've got backup down to where it's not quite a science, but pretty close.
You got it pretty good. You're using that Macrium Reflect paid version.
Yeah, but the other thing is organizing your data so that you can easily back that up. So you're just pulling a few folders here and there.
Okay.
You don't have it scattered all over your drive the way some people like to do.
Which
you
brings
do
up
an
a great
incremental?
conversation. How would you organize your data on your hard drives?
By categories,
By categories.
you have your videos, you have your photos, you have your documents, you have your email, and you may have 1 or 2 other categories.
So email, where do you put email?
Well, I have a client, so the whole client gets backed up. And I do mine in Linux, so it's closed mail, but I would recommend Thunderbird for those. Thunderbird or Outlook, depending on whether you're doing Windows or something else. If you're doing things other than Windows, as well as Windows, Thunderbird is cross-platform.
The new Thunderbird's real nice too.
Well, they keep updating it. It just got renewed again.
Like within the last month?
Maybe not that recently,
Okay.
but pretty close.
Okay. Yeah, no, they did a major restructuring on Thunderbird, and it's like really sweet. I almost decided to change off of Outlook, but I have too many clients who are on Outlook, so.
I've been running Thunderbird for a while, really liked it. This is the first real upgrade that really made a difference. They did renew it. Very good.
I got a question.
Yes.
How many here are using Adobe Acrobat Reader?
On and off.
I don't use it myself. I stopped Adobe a long time ago because they didn't give a shit about security. But the reason I'm asking, a number of different meetings on Zoom that I have attended lately, I'm hearing a lot of grumbling from avid users of Adobe Acrobat Reader, and they don't like some recent changes in it. And they didn't specify what it was, but all of a sudden I'm seeing a lot of people that are looking for alternatives to Acrobat Reader.
Hmm.
So the alternative would be what? Internet Explorer or
No, you mean Edge. Edge will do it.
Edge,
You've got
right? Thank you.
Edge will
LibreOffice.
display them, but it's really not the best choice.
You got LibreOffice Draw. You have Sumatra, Foxit, and there are quite a number of others that I post in the more FYIs.
Right. Some are more free than others.
Yes.
Some are more paid than others. And Sumatra is one of the better ones from that point of view.
Yeah, I've used Sumatra for, God, probably 10 years or better.
Most of my PDF stuff I do in Linux again, and there's always something free there.
The problem with Adobe Acrobat Reader is many third-party programs tell you that you have to go there to be able to get to the PDF. And you don't have to if you set your setting to PDF being Microsoft Edge, but sometimes the other programs don't let you get past them unless you're trying to get to Acrobat.
Right. That's absolutely true. But that's where Edge has an edge in that if you leave it set up to do the PDFs, then it will bring up your PDF. Usually, with some exceptions, you can download the PDF to your drive and then you, view it or edit it in other software.
Yeah, that's another advantage to doing a lot of stuff in Linux because you won't have Adobe products there. And if a site says you need Adobe, it'll come up in Chromium.
Yep.
Or it will come up in one of the document viewers because Linux has decent document viewers,
Yep.
unlike Windows. So I'm not trying to pitch Linux. I'm just saying this is one of the things Linux does better and more cheaply, more easily.
And if someone wanted to learn more about using, installing, and running Linux, where would they go to learn?
We have a SIG that
Bottom of your
meets
list.
we have a SIG that meets the final Tuesday of the month.
I like that. Can you tell us more about this SIG?
Well, Tim knows a lot about it because he runs it, and it's very informative.
Nothing. I know nothing. I see nothing.
Yeah, we meet the fourth Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday of the month. So
Yep.
if anyone has an interest in learning Linux, join the CCS Linux SIG on the fourth Tuesday of the month.
And past meetings are online.
And that's right. Thank you
Yes.
for reminding me. Well, not all, but many of our past meetings are online. We have a substantial library on YouTube of videos. Boy, I should have looked it up and seen how many we actually have this time. Hundreds of videos are online. Let me go take a quick look. I forgot. Boy,
And
today.
Instagram.
Well, you got to do that for Saturday.
Yes, well, that I do have to know for Saturday. But I could go and quickly look up how many videos we have, but I know we've had over 1,500 views in our history of the website. And looking at content, let me go there quickly and it'll come on. We got 127 videos currently posted online.
Mhm.
That's a lot. I said hundreds. Okay, might have exaggerated. We got over 100.
Four.
That's a lot of 2-hour plus videos that are posted online.
Right.
And the one
Yeah.
thing I tell my family now is when I'm done and gone, they can always rewind and watch me online and see my smiling face.
Yeah. As
That'll be
Groucho
enough to
Marx
drive
used to
me
say,
nuts.
I'm not going anywhere anytime soon unless you know something my doctors don't.
Oh,
Good old Groucho Marx. So let's see. Yeah, our our YouTube presence is very good. Anyone have any questions? Everyone know how to get to our YouTube site?
How many people are subscribed?
It
This is the most important. How many people are subscribed? Well, let's see how many we actually have currently. And this takes me a moment to find this stuff out. I think it was dashboard, analytics. We have 59 subscribers. We gained 2 more in the last 28 days. So if you are not a subscriber, I encourage you to go to our channel, our YouTube channel. That is the Chicago Computer Society on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe if you are not a subscriber. Our videos are broken down by the clubs, so you can watch all tips and tricks, and they'll all be organized together, or you can watch West Suburban or South Suburban or Linux,
and Northwest.
Northwest.
Yeah, with the Linux SIG, it is a good idea to start with the first probably 4 to 5, maybe 6 that we ever did, because that gives a good foundation and intro.
That's a good point there, Bob. To watch those in particular, because it does give you the good training and the basics of what you need to know.
I will.
You don't
And-
always start from scratch when you come in on the current videos.
Well,
Yeah.
the one thing that I will stipulate here, one of the things that people who have not had much, if any, exposure to Linux, they want to know, what can I do with Linux? What can I do on Linux? And that's getting covered more and more in the last 4 or 5 months. Because I got that question too many times. I do my own thing anyhow, Nat. So I started taking the concept of more FYI, and I put together some stuff. And I do something akin to tips and tricks and some other groups I belong to. And that way I'm exposing them to a lot of different articles about a lot of different products that they can use uh, as a substitute for Windows programs, but you can run Windows programs if you're bold enough on Linux or on Mac. And just yesterday in Tech for Seniors, one of our people that's also part of APCUG and a separate group in Oklahoma did a modest presentation on running Windows software on Mac OS. And I wrote him and I says, well, for APCUG, you can take that same presentation, do a little modification, and it works for Linux. And he thought that was a great idea. So he'll look into it.
Yeah, but getting back to what I was saying about PDF, Windows used to have a bunch of free document viewers available for it, but they've gotten away from that. People want you to pay for additional features, which a lot of us aren't going to be using. We're not creating PDF. So that's why I'm saying if you find a good freeware document viewer, PDF viewer like Sumatra, that's the way to go in Windows.
Yeah, and also too, if you're not really into current stuff going on, regardless of the operating system, more and more software every day is going cross-platform. So something that works on one platform today may start migrating to the other OSs so that you're using virtually the same software regardless of what operating system your computer is using. That's another feature very much to keep in mind. Windows users are actually using an awful lot of software that was developed on Linux and ported into Windows. And some of that even gets into Mac OS as well.
Okay, so let's go into our questions and answers period. I'd like to know if anyone's got any computer problems or the topics they'd like for us to cover tonight. Great. Everybody's computers are running perfectly. And Terry Moy just joined us. Terry,
Yes.
did you ever buy that Fences product and install it on your PC?
Wait, hold it.
Remember we discussed that Fences, Stardock Fences for organizing your desktop?
Oh, what was the what was the name of it?
Stardock.
That'll answer the
I
question.
even demonstrated it. It was called Fences, as in like picket fence. Fences.
Picket fence. Okay,
No, I
picket
said
fence.
picket, but Fences is the name of the product. And I take it that when you closed out your meeting, it just evaporated out of the brain and you didn't remember.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay, well, just to remind you that product is out there. You can still buy it. It's a great product and it'll solve your problem of your unorganized desktop. And Pete,
That I have. That I have.
Pete,
Yeah. Okay, so I've got a question for the general audience here. You have an old machine. You had to restart Windows on it because you got it from somebody that didn't give you the password. You did a factory reinstall
okay,
from base, and luckily it did have the recovery partition and it did have the electronic license. So currently it's running 10 21H2. So it's currently pretty up to date.
You're supposed to be on
The issue is it's going to
22H2.
be for a single purpose.
You're supposed to be on 22H2, and on top of that,
It's 22H2, sorry. It's 22H2.
Okay.
Oh, 22H2.
Okay.
Fully up.
And I haven't checked yet. They may have released 23H2 today.
all right.
Yeah, but I would hold off on that.
Hold on. We're moving away from what Pete is trying to tell us. Not what version
Yeah.
he's on doesn't matter for this discussion.
Yeah.
Please continue,
So
Pete.
the single-use machine, it doesn't need to have internet access for the most part. Although to bring in a couple of files, it might be helpful. The question is the user. So I want to keep it extremely simple. It's not shared, it's secured. It's in a secured location. It's running a laser cutter. That's its sole purpose in life. Should you run that user, because it's an older program, should you run that user under admin? If that's the only way laser will run.
It is not necessary to do so, but it would be safe.
I think I missed the last part of the question.
Should it run as
Okay,
admin?
so certain older programs and certain older systems write to the file area that is totally protected. And every time you try to write a file back or bring a file out, you're in that protect zone. You can't change it. So the only way to actually run it is in admin.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
that's, all right. So
Yeah.
then that's what you gotta do.
Well, yeah, but you can run it from a standard account. You just change the properties, go into advanced, say it must run as administrator. When you run it in the standard account, it'll ask you for your administrator password and it should run.
There are times when that's not too convenient and when it might not work well with certain programs. Some of them you really need to log in as admin because they run a whole series of things.
Yeah,
And
but
you can't be using UACs all the time.
most of the ones that I've run into in that category, Bob, is it has to do with a Microsoft operating system software, and that's usually the exception. You do have to run that in the administrator's account to make it work correctly. But almost all the applications, you can run them from, you can install them in the administrator's account, run them in the standard account. You just have to make sure you're doing a run as, or you change the property advance to say it must be with the administrator's password. You put in the password and it runs. I've been doing it for decades.
But
You've done
Pete,
it
do
on
you
machine
want,
control software?
Pete, do you want that administrative password to be required?
That would be the
Necessarily. So it's a machine control. It's running code out to another processor, not a PC, another processor, live, going back and forth on over a USB port. And it's got to be unconstrained at that point.
You might still be able to do that under a standard account. You just have to give the administrator's password. As long as you're the one in control of that computer and not somebody else.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
So if I understand this correctly, Pete, I'm sorry, Tim, you're saying to run this particular application, the person's going to need to enter the administrative password to run that program.
Right.
Right?
That's correct. Even under a standard account, if you take the icon, assuming you put it on the desktop or on the taskbar, you can right click and say run as administrator. That will bring up the UAC. You put in the administrator's password, it will run. Or you take the icon for that application, you right click on it, select properties, select the advanced button, and then put a check mark in there that to run as administrator. Then every time you double click that icon on the desktop, it will bring up UAC, give you the ask for the password, and then it'll run. I've been doing it for more
Okay,
than 2
but
decades.
what is the advantage of doing that? Why not just have the login? Hold on, can I finish? Why not just have the general login as administrator? Because this machine is only doing one function.
Yes, but if that machine is attached to the internet, any bad thing that comes in through the internet has full rights to do whatever it damn well wants to do. And more of even the ransomware type criminals out there, they're wanting to get control of your computer to use as a zombie to do their criminal activities, and U.S. Marshals come knocking at your door, seizing
Okay.
your equipment.
Okay.
Doom and gloom.
That's a fact.
Okay, but Pete, does this kind of deviates from you wanting to run this as a kiosk?
No, this isn't a kiosk.
Well, a kiosk
I'm
meaning,
not sharing the machine with anybody but me.
Yeah,
okay,
what you're saying, Pete, is it's in an isolated environment. It generally isn't connected to the internet,
It
and
generally
it's
isn't on.
right, and it's
Off.
per
No
it's
power at all.
what?
It has no power to it at all when it's off.
Right, but it's basically linking with another processor in order to perform a specified task, and you'd
Correct.
rather be able to do that with it unattended.
Well, the files run maybe 2 hours, maybe.
Yeah,
And I'm not going to be very far from the shop when it happens because it's a laser and it's going to have to sit close to the door to get the fumes out.
yeah. It looks to me like a situation where you don't want to have to be entering the UIC password all the time.
That's what I'm thinking.
And that
The other thing, I don't want it to operate like a Linux where every time I blink, I've got to enter the password.
right. And it sounds to me as though you think you would be safe enough if it were running as administrator, in spite of what Tim says, which is perfectly valid concern.
I agree with Tim's valid concerns. The time that it's going to be exposed is going to be minimal. It's behind 2 routers. It's behind a gateway to the internet service provider over to a wireless router, which also has its own gateway to get out. And the only reason I would go out would be to bring in a file from a trusted source. A cut file.
You could temporarily switch into limited user mode just for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should
I
probably
can also
have.
bring those files across on a USB from the other machine.
You'd still have to scan them, make sure there's no malware in them. But
Yeah.
if they're scanned and certified as close as you can to being malware free, I would think the risks would be minimal, though they would exist. You just have to make really sure whatever you bring over to that machine has to be truly clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're going to pick it up, if you're going to get this file using a web browser rather than FTP, you can't trust what that web browser is also seeing at the same time. You can't trust what that other server is serving to you. And that's where the threat comes in. There's drive-by malware where just by the fact that you're at a website, the malware can get dropped on a computer blindly and run blindly. You don't have to tell it to run. But that said, is this computer running one application which is doing this work, or is it multiple applications that it's running?
So it would run the application that's actually running the machine, and then an interface that touches the G code to actually convert it on the machine.
Okay,
So it's 2 applications.
2 applications. So
One is the driver for the machine. The other one is the talker for the G code, the converter for the
Okay.
G code.
So going back to what Tim was talking about, you could have a standard user and just have those 2 applications have administrative access. And that way, every time you run them, those applications already know the password and can access. So like your communication over USB can already be set up. Whatever that USB driver thinks it needs, it will have access to it because that application has already been granted administrative rights, and you've already recorded the password with the application in the shortcut to the application. And then the other application, which is doing the whatever it's doing to transcode the file, you can set that up as well to be admin only in case it's some weird application that doesn't conform to standard window protocols for how it writes files to the drive and how it does things like that. So there are files which I'll give you a great example of a program which doesn't follow Windows standard, and that's QuickBooks. All right, there's a program that ignores Windows standards just so it can do what it wants to do, and you have to give certain parts of it administrative privileges, even though you don't want the accountant to have administrative privileges. So that's just for instance. So you could use a standard user. It could auto log on. So when you power it up, it auto logs on as that user. But when you double click the icon to run either of the two applications, those shortcuts already apply administrative access specifically for what they're doing and nothing else. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. It's a good way forward. Thank you.
Yeah, that's basically what Tim was talking about, and that's what I've done in the past as well when it's some screwy program that doesn't work like how you expect. Like it writes files to the program files folder, which is only administrative access, and you have to give it permissions to do that. So
Yeah, it sounds like your application too, in a certain way, almost sounds like a CNC application, where you
It
have
is. It is.
okay, then it's a CNC application. You have a standard computer that you interface with, and it then sends the numeric coding to the controller to have it do what its magic is to some kind of device. That's what's
Yeah.
going on. That's just
So it is a
give a brief.
CNC in a way because any laser cutter,
Okay,
any router,
right.
any 3D printer are CNC machines.
Yeah.
They all work off the same
yeah.
basic premise. You got a type of code that's specific for the machine that's got to get sent to it, and the other machine does either accepts the converted code and transports it, or actually converts the code on the other machine.
So in security on computers, you always try and apply the least amount of privileges necessary to do the job. And so, if perchance the software is written so obtusely that this thing where you can apply administrative privileges per application doesn't work, you can always go to the next higher level of privileges, which is give that user a administrative console of its own. But you can start off with what Tim was talking about. That would make sense to me. It's what I would apply in a more public setting, which still works for us people who are at home. Or you can just have fun and hope it never blows up. I've done that so many times.
The thing is, it's only a 1 day loss if it does blow up.
Yeah.
It's got no access to all my other files or anything else.
Yeah, but the way things are going these days with cyber crime, they are getting very, very smart, and they're starting to use AI heavily. And now you're trying to not only deal with the cyber criminal's mind, you're trying to deal with AI on computers.
So we've lost.
Yeah.
There's no way we can beat an AI computer.
Oh, yes, you can. All you got to do is have
Unplug it.
a quantum computer.
Yeah, but I mean, me as a general guy, we can't beat an AI software.
That's part of the problem.
Unplug your internet connection.
That's
And
about all you could do is just disconnect it completely. So at least in Pete's case, he could have it disconnected from the internet, or only open the port when he needs to. Um, if it's especially if
I
he's
can
using
turn off the wireless connection.
I'm sorry.
I can turn off the wireless connection.
That's what you want to do is turn that off if you can. A cable is better because then you could just pull the cable and have it only plugged in when you need to.
The shop, it's on wheels. A cable really doesn't work.
Okay, understood.
Especially if I put something in there that's really smoky and I got to roll it outside the garage door.
Yeah.
Because it is a laser cutter.
Right. Okay, that was a great topic to go down. Does anyone else have any questions or further comments on this before we continue forward?
Yeah, Ron, you mentioned about storing the administrator password in with the individual application. That's something that's relatively new to me, and I wondered, where do you configure that? Is it a configuration file or part of the icon?
No, it's part of the shortcut. So you have to create a shortcut to the application.
Right.
So let's say your application was Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word puts its own shortcut on your desktop. It's in that shortcut that you have the option for setting, does this require administrative privileges to run? So you would do it at that level there. There's nothing in the actual application configuration or anything. It's right there at the shortcut itself.
Yeah,
the shortcut launches the application in at administrative level.
You take that shortcut, right click on it, and then select properties in the context menu. On that properties of the shortcut, down about 2/3 of the way from the top, on the right side, you'll see an advance button. You click that, and about in the middle of that secondary properties screen, it gives you the ability to put a check mark in for administrators' rights.
Thank you. That explains it well. So
And
I hadn't hit the advance button, so I didn't know about it.
there is another way of doing it, but I ain't going to bring it up because it gets real geeky. It gets into system properties, and that's a very advanced subject.
But at that point at which you're saying it will run as admin,
Yes.
you can put the password in so that it will automatically enter.
Yes. I
Because
don't put in the password automatically. What I always do is
Yeah.
I just let it bring up the UAC. I'll put the password in when I run it. Otherwise, it just sits there. That way, if somebody else were to come along, like my cats, and actuate that shortcut for that program, they got to know the administrator's password, type it in to make the program work. Whereas for something like what Peter's trying to do, you might put in the password so that, and don't tell people. If there's other people that run the equipment, you don't tell them they're running at administrator level, but that's really what they're doing in that application.
You mean your cats don't have your passwords?
Well, let's put it this way: you're say you're running it like a kiosk, and therefore that's a public access.
No, I'm not running this machine as a kiosk.
What
I said kiosk.
Okay.
I said
In either case, you have talked about kiosks before with Linux and so forth. Bottom line, you can, in any of the OSs, give individual applications or users certain privileges. You don't tell them they've got those extra privileges. You just let them think they're a standard account. They have certain restrictions. And some things you do want to have them enter a administrator's password or they can't run it. In other cases, like what you have there for that special application, you have given it the application, the administrator privilege to go ahead and run regardless of who initiates it.
Yeah.
And that's where we get into even the cat could do it.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. On that, that's not a joke. That's not a
Well,
joke because there's a lot of people with cats. The cats love walking on the keyboards.
Yep.
I don't know if they're trying to prevent you from doing what you're supposed to be doing on the computer, but they inadvertently will take and cause the keys to be pressed and therefore actuate something. They don't know any better.
yeah, cats can't
Well, they
type, but
do. They do.
Yeah,
they do know better. Well, cats can't really type, but I've never met a cat that can't handle a mouse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Boy, this meeting's going down the tubes fast.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I think we need a new question.
Yes, we do need a new question, new direction.
Offhand, has anybody who does photography without using the newer online AI applications done background removal so you can take the primary image and then put your own background in?
That feature is coming to Windows Paint.
Yeah, coming, yes. By the way, when you mentioned that, just for briefly, I have updated a 10 and 11 today, and today they did not move up to 23H2, so that it's still 22H2.
It's gonna be staggered. But anyway, the Paint app will get that capability. It will use AI.
Yes, but that also means you're doing it online, and a lot of the online applications for free, they'll give you small image snapshots of your picture. But
Yeah.
if you want the full HD of your photo,
Mhm.
then you're going to have to pay bucks, and some of them get kind of pricey because it's AI based, and that's why I'm bringing it up. And so I pulled out Poland GIMP, which I've never used before, but I did some YouTube applications to learn what to do. It took me about 6 tries. And the reason I did it is because I got a neighbor that I helped get committed to a hospital. And she's got 7 cats we got to get rid of one way or the other. So I took pictures of them, but I didn't want the background that was there in the photos. So I wanted just the cats and then a plain background to emphasize just the cats themselves.
What's wrong with a bed sheet?
This wasn't a situation where you could do that, and the cats don't usually pose unless it's by accident. And I've had some interesting shots, but offhand, I think it took like about 6, 7 tries, and I got the knack of it. It wasn't too hard, and GIMP works on all platforms. It was originally a Linux program, and it's now cross-platform. And I
So
think
you're the group expert on GIMP now?
bullshit.
Well, here's
You go to the YouTube and go through the YouTubes to learn how to get things just like I did. That's how you learn something that's out of your wheelhouse. And I'm not a photographer. Sanford and his wife are more photographers than I would be, if I lived a millennia. So
it's not for the photography aspect of it. It's for the linear, high contrast, black and white line drawings for GIMP. Because that's what you use for laser cutters and foam cutters. And when you go to 3D and GIMP, that's what you use for one of the free ones for actually doing freeform 3D prints.
okay.
So between GIMP and Inkscape, you got the
Well,
the
Inkscape
3D
would have.
LED if you're not doing engineering.
Well, Inkscape
Nah.
would have been an alternative also, and it was just a case where I kind of grabbed the first thing I could that I knew had a high probability, and I went for it, and it worked out. But that's what you got to do. If you're trying to, you have a need to do something that's outside your wheelhouse. YouTube is one of the great sources. There are free education sources like Khan Academy and stuff like that, where you can learn fairly quickly to do what you need to do, and it's up to you whether you want to expand.
Here. You're preaching to the choir. I was just looking for somebody else that had a little bit of extra experience to bounce some ideas from.
That's fine. That's what
Okay.
the groups are all about, is
Right.
bouncing ideas and new things and different things. Sometimes other people suddenly want to do the same kind of thing.
And while you guys were chatting about background removal, I found what claims to be some free software that'll do it.
Well, if it's the online stuff, I'll tell you.
No, it's offline.
Okay.
It's supposed to be free, and it's from Soft Orbits. And I put it into the chat what the site is,
Okay.
so you can take a look at it.
Batavia is a little far away from me.
Yeah, it's a little far away from you. So I just also posted in the chat that today when I was at my library, I noticed that they are going to be running 2 classes on GIMP. So I put the links in there for one of the classes. But I know this is not far. This is too far for you, Tim. But it's just thought I'd throw it out there if anyone's interested in learning more about GIMP.
Sure.
They can at the Batavia Library, which is located about an hour west of Chicago.
Yeah, that means it's about an hour and a half for me, at least.
Oh yeah. So I just
That's 6 hours by the clock.
Yep.
Yeah, actually,
it might get you to come back to the Midwest, and check out our lovely.
Not this time of year.
For
Not this time of year.
for Batavia, I'd be better off going east instead of west to Gary Airport and taking a plane, and then, if necessary, bailing out of the plane.
Or you just go to DuPage Airport. That's all.
Okay.
And then take an Uber from there. Tom O'Connor's got his hand up, and then I'll get to Bob Baxter.
Okay, since you were talking about pictures, I had a question, and that was the question was, does somebody know how to do texting of messages to from a PC to a phone?
Well, that starts with your phone application in Windows that'll link the two together.
Okay, let me touch on that in just a second, but I want to see, Bob Baxter, did you have something you wanted to comment on what we were just talking about?
Yes, I may not be right on target.
Please do.
There's a couple of tools, Pixel X and Pixel R, I think, and maybe another one in that family. And I played with them once and I was pretty pleased with the ability they gave you to remove the background. Also, in a non-Windows environment, the Chromebook gives you access to Snapseed, which is also good on an iPhone and an iPad, not on a full-blown Mac, which gives you a great capability to get rid of subjects in the picture or the background.
Okay. And to further along on what you were saying, iOS on the phone, which I know Tim does not have one that's functioning or current, but iOS 9 and 10, which are the two versions that are available for the iPhone, both have the ability to isolate backgrounds and remove it, or to take just your subject and move it from one photo to another just by touching it on the phone, on the screen. It's real easy to do. So that doesn't necessarily help you, Tim, but it's just a point of information. Back to Tom. Tom, it really, you can send something from you want to send it from the PC to the phone, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so what you need to know is you have to know what exchange the phone is using. That is, T-Mobile has their own exchange. Verizon has their own exchange. Their server exchange servers, or whatever you want to call them, their servers. And you need to know the name of it, and you can Google it online, or you can look it up online to see how to send it from a PC to a phone for, let's say, Verizon. And what you do is you're going to put that information into the to part. So you're going to give like the phone number of the person, and then it's going to be at, and this is not necessarily correct, but it might be at verizon.net or .com or something like that. And that is one way that you would send it. I hope that helps. Do you know what phone you're trying to send it to? What service?
I know the phone and I can find the service.
The service is whoever, is it a Verizon phone? Is it a T-Mobile, the AT&T?
I believe it's Verizon, but I can find out by using the phone number. I can find out which service it is.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's say Verizon. Let me quickly look up on how to send a email to Verizon phone. And okay, so I think their exchange is at vtext, the letter V, text.com. So you're going to put in the 10-digit phone number followed by at vtext.com. And hope that works.
They can also send you from their text phone, they can send an email to you via text. So in place of the phone number, they would put in your email address. So you text to a phone number, you can also text to an email address. So if you give them your email address, or if it's your phone, you can text to your email address, and that way you'll know exactly where it came from, the phone number at and whatever it is. So that will work. It works both ways.
Okay.
So you can text to someone's email account.
And then you can save that in your contacts.
Yeah. Is this from your PC to your phone that you're trying to do this?
No, it'll be from my PC to my cousin's phone.
Okay. Are you on a Windows computer?
Yes, I am.
Are you on an Android phone?
I am, but I don't know what they're on.
It's not, as long as it's an Android phone and not an iPhone.
He's on an Android.
Okay.
I'm on an Android, but why are you asking me about my phone?
Okay, because you can connect your PC to your phone using the Windows program from Microsoft called Phone Link. So you will get your messages. You can make calls from your PC. You can look at your images that are on your phone, all from Phone Link. And Phone Link will give you the ability then to send from your PC through your phone to another phone. And that way you're not dealing with email addresses or anything like that. You have it right there. It's all integrated. So it's separate from uh, IM software or anything like that. It's just a connection between your phone and your Windows computer where you can type your messages on a real keyboard. You can look at all the images on your phone that you have saved. You can see them on your computer. You can download them. You can copy them. You can upload them. You can do all those kinds of things. The Microsoft program is called Phone Link. It's free. It's one of the add-on toys that they made for Windows 10 and 11.
Yeah.
So that's another option.
In
Okay, well, all I can say is I understand what you're saying, and I didn't take the pictures with my phone, but they're on my computer, and what I can do from this is I can take them from my computer, put them on my phone with Phone Link, and with Phone Link, with the pictures on my phone, then I can text them from my phone to their phone.
correct.
You don't even have to move it to your phone. You can send the message directly from your computer to someone else's phone number for texting. You can send it directly. It'll just use your phone to do the transfer.
Right. And all you have to do is click on this a Windows Start button. Uh, go in the center column where all your applications are, and go to the very bottom application. That's usually where you find the application for Microsoft Windows connection of your phone to your PC. And it can be done on either the desktop or a laptop.
Yeah, I use it all the time because my phone isn't always where my computer is, and I want to see what messages people are sending me. I want to, there's a picture I took when I was out at another site. I want to have it on my computer, or vice versa. I need to send somebody a picture which is on my computer. I need to send it to them on their phone because their computer is down. They can't see what it is because their computer is down, and I can send it to them rather than sending it by email. I can just text it to them, and they're right there, and they can text me back, and I'll see it in my on my computer in my Phone Link program that's running.
Okay.
It works pretty seamlessly. The one thing that you'll probably want is a USB connection where you normally charge your phone. You could, it'll work wirelessly if you want it to. If your phone has Wi-Fi, or you can have a direct USB connection. It works either way.
Be careful on the USB cable. The vast majority are charge only cables. You got to look high and low to get a charging data cable, because I've had to do this with a customer of mine that wanted to be able to transfer stuff from the phone to his computer, and it turned out almost, well, every USB cable he had was a charger only.
Oh, okay.
And all mine except one cable was a charging cable. I happened to find the one that's a data cable. We got things transferred nice and easy, and it just plain worked. But
Okay.
you just
Okay.
you have to
Bob
understand.
Frybeck listed 8 ways to send text from your computer. So there was a good link in there. You could follow that. Tom, if you're done with this topic, can you lower your hand? And then Bob Baxter had his hand up. Bob, are we still on topic on something that you want to cover?
I was I was thinking that with various cloud applications, including Google Photos, you can put your photo there and then share it with somebody else through their email, and they can pick it up that way.
That's
You
true
can do
too.
that, yes, like a Google Drive, you could put it all up in Google Drive, and then
Right.
they can retrieve it from Google Drive or wherever you want to store your stuff online. There's multiple ways of doing this, Tom. If you send it through your phone, don't send them as a batch. Send it only as one or two at a time,
Yeah.
because my experience has been is that most phones are going to start compressing them to send it if you send a large amount of files. So it's going to want to reduce it. So if you want to maintain the integrity, or that is the original size of the file,
Also,
it
if you try to
individually.
email a batch of them, email
I'm sorry.
has limits. If
Yeah.
you try to email a group of photos or a video, email has a strict restriction on how big a file it'll send, and it just won't go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you put it in a cloud or any of those general services out there, you can usually share. If you have a group of pictures, you could make a folder for that individual or that activity and share that folder with a group of people.
Yeah, one caveat though on Google Drive anyway, when you download a whole folder or a batch of photos, it will create a zip archive which is compressed.
That's true.
But it will unzip it, and it won't be compressed anymore.
Maybe not. Depends on how many photos are in
Yeah.
there.
I will say photos and videos do not compress in
Right.
any of the compression software that's out there. You might save, a small percentage, like 1%,
Mhm.
on the compression function of PK-zip or WinZip or whatever zip. It's not going to do much damage to the photos because they don't compress. The JPEG is already compressed. So
Yeah, the main purpose of taking it into a zip archive is to turn it into a single download.
correct. So you have one file to transfer instead of 15 or 20 or whatever.
Yeah, usually your data will arrive more intact.
So Tom, we gave you like 16 different ways of doing what you want to do. Which one did you decide from all this discussion here? Which way are you going to go?
The 17th one.
The seventh? Oh, the one we haven't discussed yet.
Well,
I'll have to
enlighten us,
figure out which
Tom.
one is what, but I'll probably use the one that's that we were talking about, using the Windows Start button and going down to the very bottom and finding that information and sending it.
Yeah, so that's using the phone link
Phone link.
application that's
Yeah,
phone link that's
Yeah.
built into Windows itself.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
link, and Windows pesters you about this. It wants to link your Windows account with your phone, and then it can do all kinds of whiz bang things. I don't know all those whiz bang things that it wants to do. To me, it's just more spam and more knowledge that Microsoft is going to get. But
Well, Windows is becoming more and more dependent on two things, your Microsoft account and Bing AI. And that's all going to become much more central to Windows. So you might just as well get used to using it when it's useful, and to not use it, just stay out of your Microsoft account.
right. New topic, new direction. Just a small thing. I remember reading some point this week that Microsoft is going to be is shutting down the ability to upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10 for free.
It's already
True.
done.
What was that, Tim?
It's already done.
It's already done. So this
Yeah.
is gone.
Yeah.
So if you have an old Windows 7 PC, you want to upgrade, you're out.
That's right. Or
Linux.
like Dennis Slede's wife's computer that's on 8.1. They can't
No, it's
now
on
upgrade
8.
that to 10.
It was on 8. She wouldn't even let him go to 8.1.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Yeah, it was on 8. That's what I remember.
Wow. You
And he was going to move it to 10, and that's the last I heard. That was months ago. He has not been at many of their meetings, so I don't know what's going on his end of the block. So
right. You got Bert there. Bert and Bob.
Okay, any other last questions,
You got Bert and Bob.
comments? Oh, Bob, you have your hand up. Bob, do you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. So, I've had an experience which I hope is not a legal issue. I have had access to some clean computers, and I've installed Windows 10 on them. And I give it my Microsoft account ID, and it activates it.
Correct.
So I didn't buy a license.
Understand the computer has on the motherboard a chip with a digitalized license. And that's why you don't see the COLA tags much anymore.
Okay.
Now, outside of that, it knows this is a legitimate one. It knows what its license key is. You can actually find it in the registry. But aside from that, that's a machine that was probably built within the last 10 years that has that digital licensing built into the motherboard.
And probably the OS came, there probably was an OS that came with it when it was sold, and that's the licensing that's being used. The way I understand it.
Yeah, that license key gets, every time you officially upgrade it, the file gets upgraded to the current one that you upgraded to.
Right.
So that if you restore from the restore folder on the machine, you get your latest version and it's activated. That's what I run across with the machine I'm working on for the printer. It was originally sold as a Windows 7, but somebody had upgraded it to a 10.
Mhm.
So now it's a 10, and even if you use the restore partition, it stays at 10.
Right.
Bert, do you have a question?
Yeah, it's not exactly a question. I became aware of something related to BitLocker recently, where we had a machine where we took BitLocker off, and when we went to put it back on, turns out there's two versions of BitLocker. And there's one that's backward compatible in Windows 10 and one that's a new version of Windows 10. And I've never seen anything written about that,
Nope.
but so there can be compatibility issues for people with BitLocker on there who haven't upgraded their version by unloading it, unencrypting it, and then encrypting it again.
Yeah, that's a headache. And usually I avoid it because I don't particularly need BitLocker for any of my laptops, let alone desktops. But there are times when you are trying to either upgrade your computer or some other OS type operation on the drive, and BitLocker just gets in your face and won't let you do it until you turn it off. Then you do your operation, and then you hope you can turn it back on. But they're updating everything all the time. So to have a new version, there's actually two versions of NTFS. There's the old version 4 and the version 5 we've been using for several decades right now. And that was a little bit of an issue there too, between the old 4 and the version 2.
Now, as I understand it, Windows 11 has BitLocker on already.
No, not on all machines. It depends on whose machine you bought, what model, and especially if it was business oriented. My machines, I have 11. They do not have BitLocker on them, but some machines, when you buy them off the shelf, do come with it on. Some machines, especially business class, will likely have it on.
Isn't BitLocker in the enterprise version, but not in the home version?
It's in Pro and Enterprise version. I don't think I ever saw it in the home, and I'm
It's
not
not,
aware.
There are two different implementations of BitLocker. On the home edition, it requires that you log in with a Microsoft account, and
Okay.
it operates through your Microsoft account. In the Pro and the Enterprise and the Education, you hold the keys, Microsoft doesn't. And
Okay.
Microsoft won't know your keys and won't be able to help you.
Well, the one for the home must be fairly new now because I don't remember it being in the home at any time.
Windows 10 onward, at least.
Okay.
It goes along with the digital entitlement.
Mm.
That was when they introduced that was about the time they introduced
So that's
this
around
other
10 years.
BitLocker.
Well, that goes back to at least 2015.
Yeah, it might have been around then. But anyway, it's present on some home edition devices right out of the box.
Really?
And people discover it when they go to try to restore or repair or do maintenance, and they find out they don't know their key.
And to relate to that, I have a Lenovo laptop that came with Windows 10, and it's Windows 10 Home, but Lenovo incorporated BitLocker in on this version, as well as they put in some other enterprise functions behind the scene that are preventing me from doing stuff, and I still can't figure them all out. But Lenovo did this from the get-go. So when I go and examine the drive, it tells me BitLocker is turned on. It's nothing that I ever did. It's the way it came configured from the factory.
Yeah, I've bought some refurbished and used machines that are business class, and regardless of what version of the OS, did have and came with BitLocker on. And
So
then when I went to do my little magic, all of a sudden I can't do it. I gotta figure out the key, be able to put that information in, do my magic, and I forget to turn the thing back on deliberately.
Bert, with your computer that had one version of BitLocker and then is talking about a different version, was is that laptop, was it a hard drive or was it an SSD drive?
I believe it's a hard drive.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure when the newer computers that have SSD drives in them, most SSD drives have what's called self-encrypting, and BitLocker has the ability to manage and lock the self-encrypting. So that might be why there's a different version. I don't know, but you're saying it's a regular hard drive, so that obviously is not the issue.
Well, again, this was for a client, so it's just something we ran across
Yeah.
that I'd never seen before.
Okay.
my laptop here has got an NVMe SSD, if you will.
Mhm.
So it was already incorporated in on that.
Right.
The caveat is, I don't know the key. So if I should want to blow this out and restart or do any major changes, I don't have the key.
I don't know for certain, but if you create a standard user account, attach it to Microsoft, you might be able to go into the account and maybe it will see the key and allow you to print the key and or transfer it to a file so that you can put it on a flash drive and actuate it through that flash drive.
I know I can back up the key. And yes, I'm familiar with going online to the Microsoft account and have seen those BitLocker keys in there. or at least all the account information. I presume the BitLocker keys are in there.
Yes, they are.
I haven't looked at that lately. You guys brought up the topic here. Wayne?
Yeah, my Windows 11 with an SSD drive, and it's Windows 11 Pro, has BitLocker, but it's not activated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in Pro, Enterprise, and the Education, the BitLocker is there. It's a feature of the OS, and now apparently in 10, also in the Home Edition. But only some of them get activated, and then you have to figure out what the key is to be able to unlock it when you want to do certain operations, and then it's your choice to reactivate the BitLocker or leave it off so it doesn't get in your way again.
You should be able to go to Manage BitLocker as one of the, so if you search for it, and that's where you can turn it on or off.
That's what it shows on my computer. That's where I went.
Yeah.
It's an app. Manage BitLocker.
Right.
Right.
And that's standard in the OS because they don't know who's going to have it, that machine with that OS that may want to have or need to have BitLocker turned on, such as outside contractors with their laptops, especially in the healthcare industry or government. They're going to want to have that on all the time, and then techs would disable it, do their magic, and then re-enable it.
Yeah. Now, what Windows 11 does have is they have boot time security with the TPM keys, and that's different from BitLocker.
Right.
That is designed to prevent booting from USB unless the USB is registered in a particular way.
Okay, I think we've covered pretty much everything we wanted to talk about. But what we haven't done is looked at the list I sent out on any of those topics that I spent hours and hours and hours. Thanks, Tim, for cutting that down to a short. So I have a list out there of potential topics. We have a half hour to go through. Let's whiz through some of these. Does anyone have anything in there that sparks their interest on a topic
How
that
to
this?
change the default PFD reader in 10.
PDF.
All right, how to change your default PDF reader. And let's see, how do
That's
we
like
do
the
that?
third one down.
Yeah, I got it. Open hyperlink. And I will go to share. And how to geek. Oh. This is one thing that I've noticed. You see this pop-up screen here? Does everyone see this or no?
Yes.
Okay, it says it looks like you're blocking our ads.
Yeah.
That is because I'm using an ad blocker.
Right.
It does not like me I've seen this before. How rude are these people telling me that I have to turn off my ad blockers just so they could show me ads?
Well, you in general, like I do, you do it per site. In other words, in this case here, How to Geeks, I only turn it off for them, but it's active for all other stuff.
Okay, but it's rude of them to tell me that I've got to turn it off in order to see their site.
It has to do with
Look at the
ad
fine print
revenue.
below the box that says you can
It
continue.
says
It has
continue without
right there.
supporting us.
Right.
There we go.
Because
Thank you. I didn't see that before.
This is
Sanford, what
ad
you need to
revenue.
do is upgrade your ad blocker. My ad blocker is not showing problems at that site.
Which
Is my ad blocker on?
The trackers stuff is
Oh, wait a
for ad revenue to keep things going free versus having to do a subscription.
I spoke too
Okay.
soon. My ad blocker is off right now.
All right. So Microsoft Edge is your default PDF viewer, but if you want to use something else,
Yeah.
we do it. Press the Windows I key, open settings, navigate to apps, default apps, choose app by file types, locate PDF, locate the icon, and change the default app. That tells us pretty quick on how to do this. So, well, what do I want to make as my default? I don't know. Let's see if I do the Windows I key and oh shoot, what was it? Let me change this. I don't think you guys are going to see that unless I change my share screen to this.
Yeah, I think you have to do desktop.
All right, so now you can see this, right? And then I hit the Windows I key, which brought in settings. Wait, go back here. Bear with me while I read this. Settings, navigate to apps, default apps. Settings, apps,
Mm-hmm.
and then go down to default apps on the left-hand side. You guys are seeing me in my default apps, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then if I scroll down to, what do they want me to do?
You want to change the PDF viewer
Default
button.
apps, choose app by file type and locate PDF. Okay, choose app by file type. Where's my file types?
It's easier just to use the search.
Choose app by file type. You're right, but I'm following these instructions.
The settings app has search boxes here and there.
In
Okay,
11,
and
in Windows 11, this all changes. You do it from the installed apps screen, and you have to go to each individual app and go through a gauntlet of setting changes.
really,
That's not how my Windows 11 operated.
Well, I'd like to know a trick around it, but that's the only way I know to make a lot of setting changes in 11 versus 10.
Way to I, and then there's a search box on the upper left.
Right.
Find a setting, default apps, and search for that, and it says default apps. And then enter a file type is right on the right hand column. The top box is enter a file type or a link type, and I enter PDF.
so I've got right adjacent to Microsoft Edge is PDF.
Right.
Right.
Click it.
So this is where I would change it? No,
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
choose
no.
a default.
No.
Yeah. No. No, you
You want the PDF only. Click it.
left hand column, click on PDF.
I'm clicking, nothing happens.
No, you do
Okay.
it on the edge.
Click on Edge.
Yes.
All right.
Now you get options there. And the thing is, you may not have another application currently installed to change it to that, such as Sumatra or Foxit or LibreOffice Draw as 3 examples. They would list there if you had those installed. You'd select the one you want, and that becomes the default for PDF.
Got it.
Right. Right.
But this is where, and if I had Adobe Acrobat, it would show up in here and then
That's
I could
right.
assign it to it.
That's right.
Right.
That's correct.
So
Yeah.
Pete, this is how we did it.
Okay,
it
thank you.
it's kind of easy, a little complicated because you got to find the extension first and then there's the programs associated with it and then change
Yeah.
it to something else.
Right.
And
Again, in Windows 11, it operates differently, and there is a way of streamlining this.
okay,
But it's in Windows 11, not 10.
right. We're showing how to do this in 10.
Yeah.
All right, that was fun. Next item.
Just out of curiosity, my personal curiosity, why is the last one in the list? It seems a oddity. That's why I'm asking.
Why is
Trying Linux in a virtual box.
why is it the last one in the list?
Well, why is it even there? I'm surprised.
Because I saw VirtualBox, and I thought that would be something to discuss if it came up about VirtualBox. But hey, it doesn't have anything to do with anything. But I would like to deviate here from Tim's thing about the very first thing I had here on the entries called opt out of ads in your browser. And this one, I was talking with tech support from eBay because I kept getting some unsolicited emails that they just kept pestering with. And I was like, how do I block some of these? Or how do I get these? How do I opt out? And the gentleman said, well, you should try this. And he sent me this link. And I'm going to share the screen here so you can see this. And I don't know anything about this. This ad choices or user
Okay.
current IBA status.
All right. I can tell you one thing about it, Sanford.
What?
What this does is it sends requests and it sets a cookie. And if you clear your cookies, this is all going to go away.
Okay.
So it's absolutely useless for me because I clear cookies. But what it's doing is, as long as you don't clear your cookies, you have cookies set that say to refuse these particular ads.
Mm-hmm.
It does not work as well as Ghostery. It does not work as well as AdBlock, etc.
Okay.
And it tries to do basically the same thing.
Status complete.
And I always find there's one or two, maybe four, that it won't let you opt out of anyway. You keep trying and trying, and it says, no, this failed again and again.
It says here deleting browser cookies may remove your opt-out preferences.
Yep.
So you should visit this page periodically.
So
use an opt-out of all feature to control data collection and use covered by the DAA from all currently participating companies in one step.
see, that means that you can't use some programs like CCleaner, which is the most popular one.
Yep.
That will automatically delete your cookies unless you have designated exception cookies to keep, like for financial institutions, pharmacy, your doctor's office, things like that. Those would be exceptions that you keep, but everything else gets blown away every time you run the program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you look on the left-hand side, that's a list of all advertising. Agencies is the wrong word. They're syndicators.
Right.
They're the ones that send ads out to you. When you go to the New York Times, those aren't New York Times ads you see, or when you go to YouTube, those aren't necessarily YouTube ads if they're not about YouTube. They're probably coming from one of these syndicators over here on the left-hand side. And you can just say opt out of all of them or opt out of the ones you know. I mean, who knows what cognitive is and what advertising they do. The easiest thing to do is knock them all out and then unlock them if they causes a problem. These are all syndicators who subscribe to or are members of the Digital Advertising Alliance. There's a whole lot of other advertisers out there that are not part of this. So it's not going to stop all your advertising like an ad block or things like that, ad block or things like that. So it's only going to work for these syndicators, and that's if you haven't, cleared your cookies.
Okay, so like, let's say eBay. And it says here to the right of it, it says under the column of customizing ads on your browser, it says yes. And so if I choose to opt out, does that mean I'm choosing to opt out of the customized ads?
All eBay ads.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. All ads that eBay serves.
Right.
regardless of where they came from.
Will be blocked.
Click the plus next to eBay. The word eBay.
Okay, let's see what the plus says. And let me scroll down here so we can read that a little. Use a cookie technology from IBA.
Yeah.
And eBay is a world, blah, 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 blah. Oh, look at this privacy stuff. And it doesn't tell you anything important.
So it just says that cookies are being used by eBay so they can send you customized ads.
I see. So instead, I'll get uncustomized ads.
Oh, you might, yeah. Advertising is still going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to play a game with all kinds of ad blockers, more than one usually, and it may get past one ad blocker, but another ad blocker may catch the one you want to get rid of.
Has anyone tried to use this before?
That specific one, no, but I have opted out through another piece of software that happened to be my AV program. And as an end result, so far, I haven't been inundated with some of the ads. And I don't know whether they're using this idea of a cookie that says do not accept. And therefore, when I clean out my cookies, I don't seem to be having a problem that this one might have.
So this is different than ad block or some of these others. Those are tools that are put on, put in your browser, whether it be, different browsers are different. It's a plugin, which looks for content which is served by an ad server. An ad server comes from a particular URL. So it's not cookie based.
Right.
Unless, well, we'll just say it's not cookie based. Yeah. It creates a configuration file which says which ones you have and which ones are allowed and which ones aren't allowed to show in your browser. This is a cookie where when you go to a page, the cookie says, oh, problematic. You can't give us anything. And then they won't bother even serving it. It's not being blocked on at the browser. It's not even coming to the browser.
Okay.
As an example, those are really extensions. So Ghostery and Privacy Badger are two that I know of, besides AdBlock and a bunch of others that are very similar to AdBlock. They're all extensions that you have to put into your browsers. And in some cases, Firefox may have certain ones, and Chromium based browsers have some. You may find a few that are on all the platforms, but you will find some where you have to use one type of blocker on a Chromium base and a different one on a Firefox base. It's a headache.
Okay, so you'd have to run this link on each one of the browsers that you use.
This has nothing to do with it, and because it's cookie based, unless anything that you put in here to block is going to put a cookie on your system. Now you have to go into CCleaner and other programs that'll remove cookies, find the specific cookie that just got created, and say this cookie is an exception, meaning it will not be automatically removed by CCleaner and similar programs. Take your choice.
Okay.
You got extensions, or you got this approach with cookies, and you got to go through your programs that do cleanup to say, don't remove these cookies once I've created them.
All right. So the recommendation is use this, don't use this.
I use extensions like Ron brought up. It's much simpler, and when I have a problem, then I go to the extension and I say, make this an exception, and then the ads come in on that one, like that How to Geek article.
Okay.
It's kind of like how you can turn off images when you're browsing,
Yeah.
but you can add someone to your safe senders list in your browser to allow certain, if you get something to allow that sender always have their images show up in actually that was email I was thinking of, not
Yeah.
web browsing. But yeah, so it's something similar to what you do in email, where you turn off images, and you can allow it by basing on who the safe sender is. Oh yeah, I can always see images from this person when they send me something.
Now, the other approach to this kind of an issue is if you have a web page that is really busy with ads and all kinds of stuff like that, you can go into a reader view, which displays just the content you can read.
I haven't tried that. That sounds interesting.
And the best two are Edge and Firefox. But other Chrome and Chromium base have something similar, but I don't find it as easy to use as what's in Edge and or Firefox.
Right. Yeah. So if I had an ad heavy page like on PC Mag,
yeah,
I could go into the reader view. There we are. My Chrome, okay. There we are. Yeah, my Chrome browser does have that ability. I think it showed up recently in Chrome and Chromium. It wasn't there before. You had to use extensions.
No, I know it's built in, but the way they did it in Chrome and Chromium base is a little weird, and you have to basically enlarge a right-hand column to cover most of your screen so that you're only seeing the reader view.
And no, they changed it so that it shows up pretty normally.
Okay, that's good. It's about time, because I had it the previous way and it drove me nuts. So I always used Edge or Firefox.
No, it's no longer a sidebar.
Great. Hallelujah.
Yeah. So I can flick it on or off.
Okay, was there anything else on the topics I sent out?
Stanford, you want to talk a few minutes about chat, GRP or whatever?
Chat GBT?
Yeah.
Well,
what's new or, what's exciting or whatever?
Well, you've got two articles there. Are you referring to those?
Well, I just, just to get some conversation or whatever.
We haven't had enough conversation this evening?
About chat or
okay,
AI.
chat. Well, it depends what you want to use. I know that we've covered ChatGPT quite a bit in this meetings. Not that I don't mind revisiting it. It's more of what is new. I would say if you're really interested in an AI type software like that, maybe look at Bard over ChatGPT, unless you're using ChatGPT 4.0, which is the paid version. Bard incorporates ChatGPT 4.0 in it, and it's free. So, and Bard is connected to the internet for database, so you can get a little more recent information out of it. But Terry, what is you looking to do with ChatGPT?
You know, curiosity, I guess. Yeah.
Well, see, the other thing
You know,
is
see what it could do and whatever. You know.
with ChatGPT, it used to be the database being used to generate answers to what you're asking it went up to through the end of 2021. Recently, I read articles that barrier has been dropped, and they should be all the way up to date now.
Okay.
This is something I'm not aware of, that they made a change.
Yeah, it came out within the last 30 to 45 days.
Okay. And that could be pressure from external sources like Bard.
Sure.
Bard is who? Is that Google's
Yes.
version?
Yes.
That's okay. So Google took ChatGPT, enhanced it, connected it up to the internet, and made Bard, and that's what they're calling it. Yes, Bert.
Well, of course, now it's not Bing Chat or whatever. It's Microsoft Copilot, and it's free on from the Microsoft account, and it includes. I haven't tested it yet. The Dolly graphic stuff they just put in there as well. So to make your own pictures.
I just
But I
read
haven't tried that yet.
I just read an article. I don't remember all the details. That the person who wrote the article says they botched up that Dolly stuff. I don't know in presenting it to people and how they did it, or they screwed up how it works. I'd have to get back into the article.
Of course, accuracy is something that isn't in most of these things yet. So, this is just preliminary stuff.
Right. I agree with that.
I have a topic for Ron. Many years ago, we held a meeting in Mount Prospect, and you had AT&T come and speak about some new software they were going to work on, Mozilla or whatever. And I was going to ask you how you think that worked out.
Wait, can't hear you, Ron.
Unmute.
Unmute.
Okay, how's that? That's better. Obviously, it may or may not have worked out well at all. I don't even remember. Boy, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
Was that with the Windows SIG?
When we met in Mount Prospect at the library.
Yeah, that must have been the Windows. Boy, was that a long time ago.
And actually, that was the beginning of the internet.
Yeah, that would have been CCS's Windows Special Interest Group back at that time. AT&T obviously went their own way. They bought up a bunch of companies. They sold off a bunch of companies, and they're doing their own thing. I have not a clue where that project ended up.
Well, I think that was Mozilla when Netscape came along and all that other stuff.
Where were they talking about Mozilla at that time? Okay.
Right, with the University of Illinois.
Yeah. And that wasn't Mozilla. What was it at that time? That was called Netscape Navigator.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I think that it was evolved into that, but I think they had a different term from the university.
Okay. Yeah. Mozilla became Mozilla when it decided that it wasn't going to be a corporation anymore and just be a bunch of people developing a better interface than Netscape Navigator was. So I kind of like Mozilla. Yeah.
Well, at the time, that was really the first times you actually had AT&T there to talk about what they were inventing the internet.
Boy. Yeah, now I really feel
mind blowing at the time.
Now I really feel old. My goodness.
We're all old.
Okay, does anyone have any other last things they want us to cover for tonight? If not, we'll call a meeting.
I just might mention, I got my driver's license renewed, last Friday. And, I'd gotten a notice that mine was expiring in December. And of course, I had to take the driving test. I have to take it every year now. And you have to go online starting with September. You're required to go online. So I went online and the closest place that came up was 131 miles away. And
And you have to drive there.
all the way from 131 to 256 miles.
Oh, man.
So I got a little bit disgusted with it. So then last Friday morning, I decided to get up early and I got on, and then all of a sudden one came up, Melrose Park. So I clicked on that. I got that. And then I decided to start clicking and clicking. And every time you click on there, something different would come up. And all of a sudden I got the one in Lombard that day, which is why I go to the Lombard. And then I clicked on it and it said, well, hey, you can't do this because you got another one. Do you want to cancel it? I canceled the other one and I immediately got on. But it's not, computer friendly. You got to just keep going and recycling. And
Start 6 o'clock in the morning and just keep doing it every couple
every
minutes.
time you click on it, just right after, just sitting there, every time you click, it'd come up with something different.
So I'm here in Des Plaines, and we have a security, the Secretary of State office here for GMV, and what I've been told, I haven't had to do it yet, is you can go there without an appointment, and they will make an appointment for you sometime soon. So for people who don't have computers or online access or whatever, but it still may not be there. It may be somewhere around there, but at least there's other people, looking out for you. But it's only the next day, the next 24 hours is all they have. You can't plan 3 weeks in advance and, set something up. It's kind of bizarre.
I think it's 10 days. 10 days.
Oh, it is 10 days. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't go out very far because I wanted to get it later and it didn't give you any choice like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I went through and I did clicking and clicking and clicking, and just by accident I wound up with something close.
Okay.
Yeah. And
At least
the thing
here they
was,
gotta
when I
keep
got
you on
there,
island.
the place was practically empty.
Pete, you were saying?
At least here, they've got to keep you on island.
Yeah, there they got to keep you on the
You
island.
can't go 256 miles.
They're not going to send you to Kauai,
No, they'll send
No,
them to
they're not
the
going to
Aleutian.
send you to
the Big Island.
They'll send them to the Aleutian
There's no station
Islands
in town.
instead.
So this is new in Illinois with the
Yes,
new
come
Secretary of
starting
State.
September 1st.
Right. It's good to know.
Well, if you
Good
got-
information there.
You can renew online if you don't have to take the driving test. So you don't even have to go in. You can do that online.
And if you're doing license plates or anything like that, you don't need to register in advance. You can walk in.
Oh, I do that too. Yeah.
I
That
go
is
to a
something
grocery-
I just did last week. I walked in to get my stickers renewed and literally walk in, you pay the cashier and you're out the door. It was like no big deal. I also had to get a handicap placard, a temporary one, and that was no waiting in line. Just sit over there in a chair and someone will take care of you. So that was not a big deal. I think it's more the driver's license test, everything that takes a little more time and in depth.
Yeah.
That's what they want you to make a reservation for. So I'm going to.
Google kiosk in a grocery store for my license stickers.
Okay. Well, there's places we could go here too. We got currency exchanges and you can get them at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stop the recording Hey, is there any other last computer related questions for the night? Nope. Let me stop the